Welcome back to another episode of Insects for Fun, the entomology podcast which features other arthropods hosted by a master in entomology. This week is a listener request from Juliet wanting to learn more about paper wasps. And no, they aren't wasps made of paper. Paper wasps belong to the family Vespidae, which is an incredibly large family of over 5,000 known species, and houses almost all of the social wasps. When you think of a wasp, you generally think of Vespidae, unless you work in the field of parasitoids as I did. Paper wasps aren't just a genus in this family though. They're large enough to make their own subfamily called Polystinae, and some are in a separate subfamily called Vespinae. Actually, the total number of paper wasp species is believed to be over 1,000, which is spread throughout the world, except for Antarctica. But I mean, do I really gotta keep saying that? Paper wasps get the name from their ability to craft a paper-like material using their saliva and natural materials like plant stems, dead wood, even the sidings of houses. They chew these materials until they become very fine, and then construct umbrella-like open-combed nests, which are crafted in sheltered locations, like eaves of houses, open pipes, and tree branches. Another common name for these wasps is actually umbrella wasp. It should be noted that not all paper wasps produce umbrella-looking nests, and some great examples are paper wasps in the genus Rhopalidea from Australia. One species called Rhopalidea revolutionalis is commonly called the stick nest brown paper wasp because they create slender two-column paper nests which more or less appear like hanging sticks. What's interesting about these is that satellite nests, or nests belonging to the same colony, are often made around the initial one. So instead of there being just one umbrella-looking open comb nest, they have multiple long and thin stick-like nests bundled near each other. These wasps can be found in Queensland, Australia, Brisbane, and Townsville. The wasps are considered beneficial, thanks to their carnivorous habits of eating garden pests. Another interesting paper wasp from Australia is Rhopalidea plebeiana. These wasps also make stick-like vertical nests. But here's the kicker. Unlike revolutionalis, plebeiana wasps will make colonies near each other which get so close they can even be mistaken for a large single nest. This species is unbothered by others of its own kind, and is willing to create large communities like a small wasp town. In a recent Patreon episode, I talked about wasps that can identify each other by colors and patterns along with their work relationships. If you're interested in that sort of knowledge, I recommend you hit up Tier 2 over on Patreon. Another fun fact about plebeiana wasp is that these colonies and communities turn into ghost towns when the winter comes, with new founding queens flying off to hibernate and rest in other areas. When spring comes back again, these founder queens often seek out their birthplace and rebuild the old nests. This cycle results in new growth to their communities and towns every year, which might be a problem if you happen to have one on your property, because they can become quite expansive. This isn't the only time we see paper wasps working off what others built though. There are 4 species in the genus Polistes and are commonly referred to as cuckoo paper wasps. They have lost the ability to produce their own nests and rely on their host to raise their young. The parasite wasps seek out a nest founded by another Polistes species and challenge the queen while her workers are still eggs. Unfortunately for the genuine founding queen of Polistes, the parasite imposter wasps have more bulk and are built for battle, making it incredibly difficult to protect their own nests. If the cuckoo wasp wins, the original queen is banished and the parasite wasp takes over her nest. She makes sure to rub her scent over all the combs to ensure that when the worker wasps emerge, they recognize her as the true queen. And she then uses them to care for and nurture a colony of her own offspring. The genus Polistes is actually the largest genus of paper wasps, and the largest genus of wasps within the family Vespidae. It has over 200 recognized species, many of which are umbrella wasps, or your standard paper wasps. These are also the most commonly seen because they love building their nests near or off housing. The bright side is the wasps are non-aggressive, and they won't bother you unless you mess with their nest or attack them. Actually, one of my new coworkers had a nest of these on the side of her house, and she was never stung. Her cat got stung because it apparently swatted one of the wasps, but getting stung by one wasp for being swat at, as opposed to getting chased by a horde for simply being near a nest, is way better in my opinion. Actually, a well-documented behavior in paper wasps is that they often warn intruders before stinging. Their warnings are to fly into the intruder, but not to sting them. They're basically just telling you, hey, you're in my territory or you're getting too close, and I want you further away. The nests built by Polistes wasps have longer petioles, or stems, that connect to the main umbrella part of their nests, which exaggerate the umbrella appearance. Paper wasps are carnivorous at all stages of their lives, and one of their favorite and most documented food sources happens to be caterpillars. The wasps feed their larvae by pre-chewing the way many birds feed their young. It's not just caterpillars though. They'll prey on all sorts of smaller and soft-bodied arthropods, like crickets, flies, and sometimes other wasps. The adults aren't just beneficial by eating off pest insects though. They're also pollinators and feed on nectar in various flowers. The general life cycle for paper wasps, specifically in the genus Polistes, is categorized by 4 stages. Number 1, the founding phase. Number 2, the worker phase. Number 3, the reproductive phase. And 4, the intermediate phase. The founding phase begins in spring, when the overwintering female wasps begin searching for a place to construct their nest. The nest starts with the petiole, or the stem-looking section, and many of these wasps add their own ant-repellent chemicals to these petioles because, let's be honest, no one wants ants invading their home. Cell walls are then formed in a hexagon shape using chewed-up nearby materials, and the nest is extended outward. The size of these nests varies by species, but some of them can reach an impressive diameter of 12 inches, or 24 centimeters. That being said, the nests are always completely open, so you can see each individual cell, larvae, and all. Once the nest has been crafted, the founding female will lay eggs in each of the cells, which become female workers. Sometimes the founding females have helper females present with her at the time of the nest building, in which case the eggs laid by the founding female will be guarded by these helper females. In the vast majority of cases, a founding female only has assisting females if they're all directly related, in which case one of them is chosen to be the new queen/foundress. The worker phase begins in early summer once the initial worker wasps have fully developed. In this phase, the new workers help build the nest, forage, clean, and care for the next generation. As the summer progresses, these initial worker wasps are driven out of the nest by the founding queen to go make their own. The reproductive phase starts when females are born with increased fat stores and a functional reproductive system. These females are built to survive the colder months, unlike their working sisters. Now, unlike the name of this phase, there is no actual reproduction happening because males have yet to be born. It's more like the winter preparation phase. Now, the final phase, on the other hand, or the intermediate phase, is marked by the birth of the first males, and it is here where the colony starts to die off. Once the males have grown up, they fly off to find a mate, and the reproductive females leave the nest as well. The workers begin to die off as they are no longer being replaced, and the nest becomes empty in preparation for winter. This late season has higher intra-colony aggression, which is used to disperse the females and males. When it comes to overwintering, some paper wasp species show group formation, with fertile and mated female wasps gathering together in groups of 50 individuals or more. This is specifically documented in the species Polistes dominulus. What's even more interesting is that these wasps form these groups with individuals from other colonies, so they aren't even directly related. Another interesting trait is that when spring comes, the wasps usually form small colonies from the wasps they overwintered with, despite not being direct family members. Now, it was also found that the founding phase had the most shuffling when it came to wasps entering and leaving colonies, but only a small portion of wasps used more than one colony. In general, it's better to stay with one colony, but if a wasp decides to bail, it's much easier to join a colony that's already well established than it is to try to start their own. One of the most well-known paper wasps is called the executioner wasp. The species is Polistes carnifex, and it's believed to be one of the most painful wasps. But the ironic part is they really are not that aggressive. They give you plenty of warnings, which can even be seen in a YouTube video where a dude tries to get himself stung and the wasp simply refuses to actually insert the stinger. I think it was Jack's World of Wildlife or something like that. The point is, even the paper wasp, which gained the title Executioner, is mild-tempered. There is one final thing to mention, which might be the most fun fact yet, and it's that the color of paper wasp nests is dependent on the material they use when crafting. As a result, you can sometimes end up with extremely colorful paper wasp nests, and some people willingly give paper wasps different colored construction paper to work from, which results in even rainbow-colored nests. There are actually people who even keep these as pets and house them in big glass picture frames or insect tanks. Due to the calm nature of many species, it's also possible to hand feed them using honey. But having this kind of pet isn't for the faint of heart, or people who are allergic. And that's going to wrap up this episode of Insects for Fun. I hope you all enjoyed learning about paper wasps, and please make sure to rate this podcast on whatever platform you listen. Leaving a review on Apple goes a huge way to promote the show, so if you can do that, make sure to do so. Of course, there's an even better way to support the show, which gets you bonus content like vlogs, bonus episodes, and ad-free episodes. Head on over to patreon.com/insectsforfun and check out all the cool things I've got going on over there. Links to everything, as always, are in the show notes. And thank you, as always, for listening.